Hello, angel babies. Welcome back. My name is Trisha, and this is Trisha's Temple. Thanks for being here. What's in the energy today? We've got the Star. I think that you are experiencing things that are unexpected, mysterious, making you believe in magic again, giving you the sense of awe and wonder and that feeling of transcendence. What is bringing in that feeling? We have the Prince of Swords and fertility, number 3. This is the goddess Estanatale. I'm gonna butcher these. By the way, I just barely got my nails done today, which I've only had my nails done like a handful of times in my life, and I left and just immediately ruined them, so that's fun for me. I think that you are experiencing these moments of transcendence, wonder, little like mini miracles through like listening to your own intuition and just like going on vibes. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say that something happens that doesn't go your way, or you were having an experience with someone or a situation and you had this moment where you realized, hey, like, I don't want to be here anymore. So then you end up leaving. Or something. Let me just give you an example from my life. Today, I was supposed to have an appointment at this one nail salon. So I drove there, arrive early, and the doors are locked. And I was like, that's odd. So I call them, no answer. And I just like sit and wait until my appointment time, and nobody arrives. The closed sign was on the door, but like online it said open. I had called and made the appointment the day previous because they didn't have any appointments available the day before. And I was like, this kind of feels like there might be like some sort of like family emergency that happens to them. Like that would be the reason why they would have their place closed. And I decided to call up and go to a different place. The person who answers says, yeah, like we can take you. So I drive over there, and the person who ends up doing my nails, I end up like having this really great conversation with him. And I feel like that opportunity that I had could have been like, oh, I just end up, I like give up and go home, or I decide to like follow my intuition and like continue on the journey. And I think that you are finding little ways to do that for yourself. This Prince of Swords is making me think of just like little moments of clarity, little moments where you are like moving the needle forward, so to speak. And choosing to like move the plot forward, if you will. And maybe it isn't clear to you in the moment how that decision is going to pan out, or like you don't have all of the answers in that exact moment, because later on I did receive information from that nail salon, that yeah, it was a family emergency that kept them from being able to keep the appointment for me. But I still had the like experience that I did. And there's kind of that mentality that people will say of like, oh, like everything happens for a reason. And I don't always love that. I like another mentality that actually comes from my religious upbringing, which is all things can work together for your good. Which to me really means just like whatever you end up deciding, whatever you choose, it can work out for your good if you let it. And I think that that's something that you are starting to notice more of and experience through these like little bitty miracles, if you want to call them that. Kind of like just moments of feeling like there's something bigger than you. It's like when all the stars align. What is something that is keeping you from listening to that inner voice that you could like either let go of or just like acknowledge that it's there first and foremost? We have Justice, Athena, and we have the Princess of Staves, or the Princess of Wands. So the first thing that came up when I pulled this card was that sometimes you might feel like justice is on your shoulders. It's like when someone does you wrong or something happens and you feel like it's almost like your responsibility to make sure that they know that whatever they did was not right. And it's not to say that you're like going out of your way to like seek retribution or revenge. It's more so that you just have this feeling that if you aren't the adult in the situation, if you aren't the one who like holds the scales of justice in your hands, if you aren't responsible for their shit and your shit, then like something bad will happen. And I think that that's something that you are starting to let go of. You're starting to realize that justice will be served, justice will occur, even if you like, or actually especially if you're able to let go of this feeling that you need to carry out the justice yourself in some way. Yeah. Let's see, the Princess of Staves. Princess of Wands. think she's showing up here with justice as almost this like softening, or like what you're doing with that energy instead. Like when you would normally be like, I don't think that you're really a Karen, but it's kind of like Karen energy, to feel like I'll give you another example from my life. Several months ago, I was on a walk, and the sprinklers were on in the park by my house, and I was like, this is the middle of the day and I'm trying to walk here, people. This is so frustrating. And there was this large part of me, this Karen part of me, that wanted to like call the Parks and Recreation department, or whoever it would be that I should call, and be like, excuse me, like, why are you watering the lawn in the middle of summer, in the middle of the day? This is so inefficient, and I'm also like just trying to have a nice walk without it getting me all wet while I'm trying to run through the park. I mean, maybe I should have just run through the sprinklers. That would have been fun. But then I had this moment where I was like, you know what I could use that energy for? Instead of calling the Parks and Rec department and complaining, maybe I could use that energy to make some of the phone calls that I've been putting off, like to do some of my like adulting tasks. But I think in this situation, what this energy is saying is maybe you could use some of this energy that you feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders. Like you have to save everyone's animals and the planet and your neighbor's friend's niece down the street, and use that to like pour into your creative passion. So maybe that looks like, oh, like I was going to go really stress out about this thing that I have no control over, but instead I'm going to use that energy to, I don't know, color something really simple. And it's not to say that you are just like completely giving up advocating or caring about the world, but you're also like investing a lot more of that energy into things that you do have more creative control over, and seeing how that's expanding. How is that going to shift like the way that you feel and your creative, emotional, mental, all the well-beings? We have the Seven of Cups. I think that you're going to feel less scattered, less like you have to pour your energy into all 7 cups, and that you can just choose the one that really lights you up the most. So, and now I'm thinking like maybe it started with 7, but then you like whittled it down to 6. and you immediately started to feel a difference, you're like, oh, like, I have so much more energy for these 6 cups. And then you started to realize that, oh, actually, like, I'm not going to pour any energy into this one anymore. And then you had 5 cups. And then, like, slowly but surely, you started to, like, whittle it down to just the 1 cup that felt the most meaningful, valuable to you. And it's really, like, the central pinnacle cup for you. Your most replenishing cup. Yeah, it's cool. I think that you're evolving your perspective on needing to wear so many hats, to juggle so many different things, to be so many things for different people. And it's not to say that you can't be like a diversified, eclectic, neurodivergent type of a person who enjoys lots of different things. But I think that that 1 cup is more so representative of, like, pouring your energy into the source being yourself that can then produce, or I don't even like the word produce. It sounds like you're a product. You're not a product. You're an abundant life force. Okay. Let's get 1 or 2 more cards before the sun sets. It's quite beautiful over here. What will be some signs to you that you are ready to let go of 1 of these cups, the next cup? Because maybe you've already let go of several cups. Maybe you started with like 23 cups. We have the Prince of Staves, Prince of Swords, oh no, Prince of Wands, the 5 of Cups, and the 3 of Pentacles. We have the Prince and Princess of Wands now. And it's funny, I was thinking when I pulled this one out, I was like, it's the Prince and the Princess. And then I did pull the Prince. And they both have red cloaks and red hair. Okay, then we have the 5 of Cups and the 3 of Pentacles. So I think that a sign to you that you're ready to let go of a cup and kind of step into the next cycle of your what is that song? I think it's might be a Taylor Swift song. It's like, yeah, it's breathe out, breathe in, I can hear it, but I don't know the lyrics. Anyway, I think that a sign to you that you are letting go of something and kind of ready to go on to your next cycle phase of your journey is, for one, your relationship to the outside world will shift from being so how do I explain this? Like, when you are holding so many different things at the same time, you can sometimes feel like all of those things somewhat have control over you to some extent, that they have your name. Is that the saying? That, like, let's say that you have work and school and your family, and maybe you had like a religious expectations, or you had like a friendship circle, or like like I'm thinking like a book club, or like, you know, like all of these different things, and none of them were particularly bad or keeping you tied down, chained from anything if you just looked at them individually. But when you looked at them all together, you realized maybe this is too much. Maybe I'm demanding myself to do much. I'm spread too thin. And the things that I value the very most then are not getting as much of my attention. It's like, oh, I'm going here and I'm going there, and when I end up in the places that I actually want to be, I don't have as much energy as I want to. And so I think that there might be moments where you either already have broken down and kind of had that, like they say, like come to Jesus moment, but like come to yourself moment, come to realize, hey, this is not actually what I want for my life. This is not the trajectory that I had pictured. And then you kind of do a little inventory of, hey, these are all of the cups. Which ones are weighing on me the most? Which ones do I dread going to, participating in the most? And is there anything that I could do about that? It's kind of reminding me of this old metaphor that was used so much for me when I was growing up. It was like you put the rocks in this jar of sand, or just in this jar. So you have like the sand and the pebbles and the big rocks. And if you put the sand in first and the pebbles and the rocks, then it won't all fit. But if you put in the big rocks and then you put in the pebbles, then the sand will fill in around it. And it was always this like whole thing of like the big rocks are the biggest priorities. And in some ways it was used as this metaphor or symbol to represent being able to fit like the most in and being like the most productive person that you could be. But I think you could use it to be more about just like your greatest priorities, the things that you actually value the most. What are your biggest rocks? That if you couldn't fit anything else in your life, these are the things that you would want to be able to fit. And maybe there are like little interactions that you have with a person, a situation, like just like a chance encounter. And it's making you feel like it's time to make that change, that shift. Perhaps it feels like almost like the person or that situation was like the kick in the butt that you needed. And that could be one of those more like transcendent, beautiful aha moments, or it could be a little bit more of a tower moment, rude awakening type of kick in the pants. Yeah. Why is the Prince of Wands here? Does the Prince clarify the Prince of Wands? Jeez. We have sacrifice, Kuan Yin, Five of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. Yeah, honestly, I feel like this Prince of Staves and then bringing in these other cards is almost just like double, triple, quadruple, quintuple confirmation of things that we've already been saying. That it might feel like a sacrifice or that you're giving something up, that you are eliminating something from your life. But that is coming through a clarity that that thing is no longer yours to carry. It's no longer your responsibility. It's no longer your part of your purpose or mission, if that's something that you resonate with. And that you can use that energy now to pour into things like a more passionate, sensual, sensual even being like your actual senses, a true connection to your body, recommitting yourself to things that maybe you had forgotten you loved from the past, but still hold that candle for you, so to speak, that when you return to them, you're like, oh, like I forgot how much I love this, and it really still just like lights that fire inside of me. It reminds me how much I enjoy being alive. This could be also like a place or a group of people that you reconnect with, or one person. It's like if you had a friendship from the past, or even like family connections, and then you return to them years down the road and you realize that you kind of both went in a similar direction and found your way back to each other. I think that this next season of your life, you are noticing a lot more of these like transcendent moments, a little bit in hindsight, by like playing this little connect the dots game with your life. Like, oh, I remember when I learned about this thing years ago, and now that's coming up for me again, and I'm able to use it in this way, and it's creating these opportunities for me, and I never would have guessed that back then. Or I had this interaction with this person, and they taught me this one little thing. They shared this one insight with me, and then it's just kind of like stayed with you and been this little pillar that you've carried, another piece to your flame. And there are just a lot more of those things occurring for you, partially just because you're paying more attention. Like, I think that they've always been happening, and now you're cluing in. You're maybe even writing them down, taking pictures, recording voice memos, sharing them with other people, doing something to just like soak up those magical moments. So that's what I have for you today. Thanks for being here. If this resonated with you and you would like to dive deeper on something that's a little bit more personal to you, then I would love to give you a one-on-one reading. The links are down below. Thanks. Love you. Bye.